Hey, I am back. So I made a background. Me just randomly making shit now. I'll show you what it looks like. This is, it'll be for like the battle. Right, so there's our background we'll use for the battle. Not that we're there yet, but I did make two more cards. So I'm going to add those in. We'll go right to the top. Might as well start at the top, right? Two more cards. I made a Lich and a militia guy. So card cost wise, Lich will go 5, militia will be 1. Card attack, let's go 4. Militia 1. Health 1 for the militia. For the Lich, we'll go, I don't know, 3? Sure. Why not? Alright, so, and we have 2 more sprites. It's kind of funny, I actually was doing some stuff for my daughter, and I closed my A sprite, and I didn't have any of my stuff saved, so I lost it, so I had to remake my background. So the background on these might look slightly different. If I really wanted to grab these ones, pull it out, I mean I could. And if you wanted to see what they, I don't know if you can really see that. I suppose I could do this. Just in case you're interested in my learning art abilities. There's my Lich, and here is my militia guy. Anywho, enough of that crap. Let's go back to this stuff. So those got the sprites, the description, militia, and this is a poor warrior. Alright, and the last one was the card price. So let's go something like that. Variety is the spice of life, right? So just a couple little things. So going into our store real quick, and by store, yes, I did mean store. So there is one thing we need to do here. I meant to add, and the video was just going so long, I just didn't want to go that far. So I'll show you what we'll fix. And there's actually two things I want to add. One is to fix this, and the other one is to show pages, right? Because I mean, we can show, I think, 24 guys, really, but you're gonna have more than that. Like, you might have 200 or 300. You can't fit 200 or 300 people on this thing. Shit just don't work. So, anyways, okay, everything works, right? If I go menu though, we don't destroy those objects, and we should. If I go back to the store, it doubles. Right, so if I keep going, there's 24, it's maxed out. If I keep going, it starts going off page, and shit ain't cool. So, let's fix that. And it's a really easy fix, really. All we're going to do is destroy objects. That's it. Move to the top. And we're going to use a new variable called created cards. Create cards. I think we have a variable called created card. Make sure it's not that. So all we got to do now is if we have a new card, this is, nope, up here. All right, because here we're getting it and we're just creating the object and we're sticking it all there. So all we got to do is in here somewhere. It doesn't really matter where it is as long as it's below the create object. So the created cards, we're going to put the created card into it. And that's it. That's those two actions should solve that issue. All right, because now we go to the store, and why is it not giving me anything? Open store. Oh, because I got the destroy the. Well, that was stupid. I mean, that wasn't it. Okay, so one minor change there. I'm going to put the open store up here. So it's not part of that loop. Right? We don't want with this loop, we just want just the loop. We don't need to be destroying the array every single loop. That's silly. Still an easy fix though. Right, so if I go out, go back in, you can see everything is now normal. Right, if I go to the menu, it's there, and it looks like it's just reactivating. It's not. It's actually destroying them and recreating them. And we could destroy them on closing the store too. I'm not that worried about it. So the other thing I'd want to do though is be able to have pages. So I think the easiest way to do about that is I'm going to create I guess an image. Do we have just a basic square? Yeah, basic square. Okay, and I'm just going to stretch this square out like that. And you could get fancy with this and give it, you know, a bit of a fading effect, and that looks cool. We'll call this the store mask, and I'll move it up here. I'm going to put the store underneath store mask. So store mask is the root, and then I'm just going to use mask. And we don't need to show, I mean, it's underneath it anyways. And, oh, you know what? That's going to cause us issues. Because I don't want to mask out that, the book at all. So I'm going to actually put it as a child of the store and put the card holder under that. So we're not going to mask out the button or the money. Alright, that'll work. So now, and I'll show you what that will affect. And you might see where this is kind of going. Right, so everything looks normal, other than the fact I've already got the book up. So let's hit store. It's like 100% normal, right? But now if I take this card holder and I move it, as you see, it's, ooh, magic, it's disappearing. Pretty, eh? So we have a masking effect. Now, like I said, now you could give this some alpha on the sides. Like I'm just using a basic square, Unity standard sprite thing. But I mean, if you had an alpha one, you could have it so it's actually fading as it hits the edge. It looks pretty cool. So we have a mask, right? Child of the store and the card holder goes under that. So we're masking anything under the card holder. Perfect. We'll use the same method for the player inventory. So the other thing is I just want to clear up these numbers because they look kind of goofy, like really -4, 1.6. Let's just zero those. Let's go with a nice solid 450 on the width, 320 on the height. Just make those numbers pretty. You won't even notice the difference, but they're prettier. So what is a page, right? We need to move pages. So, fuck. Okay, one sec here. Let's just build something really, really simple. Let's just more or less build a triangle. We'll give it like a, I don't know, whatever color. Sure, something like that. And make sure it's actually in the middle. So we're just gonna go something like that. There. Loop that up, fill that in. Okay. And I mean, if we want to get a little fancy with that, I swear to God, I can't help trying to not be fancy. It's so hard. Here, I'm just gonna give it just to paint the edge a little bit. And then we'll go up here and soften this edge a bit. Boop. And we'll try to make it look a little more metalish, so we'll just give that a little touch. Oh, that was a little big of a touch. All right, there we go. So, I should probably highlight that. Just give it a black outline. There we go. So let's save that as our arrow. And export it as our arrow. Perfect. Back in here we go. So take our arrow. That's all fine. And now we can make a button. So we'll do it under the store, but above the mask. So we need a UI button. And we're not going to have any text. I'm going to get rid of the text. So the sprite I want is I'm going to use my arrow. And we'll set default size. We'll move the button like here. And then I'm going to have another button, and I'm just going to rotate it 180 and set it on this side. Something like that. So now we have two buttons. We have this one, we'll call it right, and this one we'll call left. There we go. Make sure that they have right castable. Yeah, the crap doesn't. So all we really need then is when we are in the store, we know we're here. We're waiting for stuff. We're getting our mouse button down. We could add it in here. Compare tag, or we can just build an FSM for it. It really doesn't matter. We'll build an FSM to keep it clear. We'll call this store pages. Right, and all we're really gonna do is just a button array, and we only have the two buttons. And we're gonna have right and left. Oh yeah, right and left. Perfect. Can't complain about that. So, If we wish to go left, all we're going to do is we're going to move this card holder by its width. But we don't want to do that if we're at 0. Right? So all we're going to do is let's get position, the local position of the rec. And that should give us our X. And then we're just going to float compare. And if X is equal to 0, you know, we're gonna skip. And if X is greater than 0, then we'll go left. I'll just reuse that guy there. So what is left? Well, we've already got our X, so let's just minus the width. And we could do that dynamically, right? Because we could get rec, get the rec, and we just want the width. And let's put that above the float compare so we can actually get it. All right, so float subtract. We're going to take the X, subtract the width. No, we don't. Let's do it as an operator. Float operator. This will be a little nicer. It won't be so jarring. And we're going to subtract, and we're going to store this as target X. And then all we're going to do is interpolate float and set position. Set local position. So all we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, we're going from, we'll use the ease in, ease out, from our X to the target X. And it doesn't need to be that slow, 0.5. And this is set X. And we are going to move the card holder X to set X every frame. Operator needs to be at the top. Now when interpolating is done, we can say done and go back here. Right? And we can do this more or less the same thing, only we have to flip everything if we go right. So we get the X, we get the width, and we compare. So how many pages do we want, really? Pages times width, it would be your maximum amount. So I don't know, for this I'm just going to go 1100. So if we're equal to 1100, or if we're greater, I mean we shouldn't be greater, we'll skip. But if we're less, then we're going to go right. So then now we're not subtracting, we're adding. And then that part can be the same and just go there. And that should give us our pages, right? So if we hit play now, let's just make sure that is working. So we go to the store, and if I go left, nothing happens. Oh, we have an issue. And if I go right, nothing happens because we have an issue. Attach to manager. So I apparently screwed up the logic. Again, I swear to God, I do that all the time. All the time. Right? So we are... we are getting the rec for the size, or for the X, of the card holder. And the width of the card holder. You know what? We should probably just make that a variable. That'll just be so much simpler than dragging it in a million times. Right? So let's just set all these to the card holder. Alright, so card holder. There. Just drag it in once, call it good. I was trying to move my manager, and he's a game object with a normal transform, not a rec transform. So we go to our store. So if we hit this one, nothing happens, right? Because we're at 0. And if I hit right, we only went halfway. I think I know why. So let's go back, and that's all. There we go. It's just going to make a liar of me today. So where are we? Full compare. Oh, I never put a skip on that one. And drag it over. So if we go right, let's see. So we get his local X, which was 0. Its width, so he's using the half extent, so that's okay. So we just gotta multiply that by 2, right? Because his card holder, often when you're dealing with boxes, when stuff like this, you're dealing with half extents. I should have picked up on that. But okay, whatever. Easy fix. So if we skip, we're going there. The other thing we need now is just a float multiply. So we're going to take the width and times it by 2. And move it up to right there. Yep. And copy and paste that over here. Above the float compare, but below the getting of the width. If you put it above the width, it won't work. Alright, so store, that way it doesn't work. This way goes over. This way should go back, and it doesn't because something's weird. And he is, what is he doing? He's comparing because we went below. Why are we below? Left. We get the X. That's shouldn't have gone below to begin with. So let's take a quick little look. We go over and we hit store and we hit left. And it's a skip. The width is negative 550. Why is that negative? But the X is 0. Which is right. The X is 0. So we can skip all day long, but we go this way. And then if we go this way, his local is negative 550, so that's right. The width, though, why is the width showing negative 550? Oh. Position's negative 550. X. Width. That is a little confusing. Oh, I wonder if I could just use this width value. Might have to multiply it then. It would only make sense, right? It's called width. Use that. Crazy. All right. So store, and we go that way. Hey, supposed to be going right. Oh yeah, I guess I have to move everything in reverse because we're moving it over this way, and it's, yeah, I gotta flip that. Right, because I'm moving that thing. I have to reverse that. So if we hit right, we want to, so I guess we don't need this. So this one is if we're 0, if we're equal, skip. If we're less than, skip. If we're greater, go right. And we'll do the subtract. So down here, get rid of that one. And this one will be 1100. Make sure we have that as 0. Yeah, that one's 0. So if we are equal, we are skip. If we are less, we'll go left. If we're greater, we'll go skip. All right. Yeah, left and right gets flipped on you when you're doing this. So, or does it? It doesn't seem like it. Right, so we go left. We're going like way negative. I guess I have to flop those around too, don't I? Right. Good old math, I tell you. So if we hit this way, we want those to slide over that way. So if we hit right, we want our anchor point that's sitting here to go negative. If we hit left, right now nothing should happen. Right, because if we hit left, yeah, so left is based on 0. And if it's equal, skipped. If it's left, then skipped. If it's that, then we go left. Right, and then if that's the case, then this guy is, okay, I originally had it. If it's equal, skipped. If it's less than, and skip. Okay, so now we might have to just change the direction to which we're moving for the add and subtract. Right, because now if I open the store and go left, nothing happens, but we can go right and go left. Right and left. Well, the first one seemed to work just fine. Something a little weird with this guy. right? So card holder, he is there. We open that up and we hit this way. He moves, and you know what? I think it's because it's that. Because at left now, if we're equal to or less, oh yeah, because we're in the negatives, right? We gotta flip that portion. Because we'll never go in the positives. We'll only be in the negatives. I was thinking that was reversed. Right, so this guy here is negative 1100. If we're equal, we're skipped. If we are less than that, we skipped. For greater, then we'll go left. So that one should work, right? I'll have to alter the other one a little bit. But yeah, because we're going in the negatives. So if we go this way, we go there. That way we should move that way. And then if we go this way, so he takes width and we add it. Because this guy is doing the subtract. I would have thought I've already changed that. Whatever, we're all crazy. So we go this way, go that way. Can't go, well, we can't go that far. This way. And we are now at negative 550, 1100. So we can't go less than 1100 on the right. So we can't go less. Nope. 1100 on the right. So we're equal, we're skipped. If we're less than, we skipped. If we're greater than, we go right. All right. So here is as long as we are. So this guy is 0. If we're equal, we're skip. If we're greater, if we're less than, we can go left. If we're greater, then it's a skip. Right, because we're going, our window is 0 to a negative 1100. Right, so we're skipping, nothing happens. We go right, it moves. We go right, it should move again, but now it should skip. Okay, skipping. Now we go this way, go this way. There we go. So pages are set, working. And then, I mean, we could run a counter here, an integer, and be like, we're on page 1, we're on page 2, right? But I'm not going to bother with that. So anyways, that part's working. Pain in the ass, apparently. I'm going to save that. Lord heaven, I hate to do that again. I got to do it again, though, for the player inventory. I'm just copying and pasting. Fuck it. So, the other thing now is the player inventory, right? So, if our store is working, and now we want to be able to open the player's inventory, so then we could not only see the cards that we have, but we also need to be able to drag those cards over and build a battle deck. So that's what we need to do. So let's go into our menu manager, where we should have a bunch of errors because we haven't filled those ones out yet. The open battle deck. Yeah, okay. So let's do open battle deck. There we go. What was the other one there? Open store. Oh, the play game. I guess we'll put that there just so its error goes away. Alright, so open battle deck. So what are we going to do? We're going to more or less do the same thing as this. right? Over here. Well, the only difference though is we're not going to open the store, we're going to open the battle deck. And you know, I think we should almost have that same thing, because I don't have a graphic for it. So let's just duplicate this guy and call him player inventory. This is where titles would come in probably handy. So we're going to open the player inventory. Now when we hit menu, we're going to actually just tack that on, right? Because we want to make sure the player inventory is closed. Even if you're in the other one, we're just going to say, you know what, we're going here, close off the other two, regardless, whichever the hell one you're in, and then we will go open the menu or whatever the case is. So now there's nothing in here, right? So we can go to the store, we can see the store, we can go to the menu, we can hit battle deck, and now we get the player's inventory. It looks the same, but we need functionality for that button though. That guy right there. Right, so that's easy. I'm just going to tack on to the other guy because why not? It's going to do the same thing, right? If we hit play and this button here, right? So we just need 5, and the button is this guy, and he's just going back to the menu, right? We can reuse that same event because he's taking care of everything for us, and that's it. So now we have our base of the player inventory. Very simple. Hey, you're supposed to be working. Why aren't you working? Oh yeah, right. Let's see, because if we go store, oh yeah, you know what, we still need a closed store, because we've opened it, we never, like they have that go back to the listener, we never put that in here. Alright, so let's do that. Let's just copy him over. The other thing is, yes, let's make a quick little here for closed store. Alright, so, and it can pretty much just do nothing. I mean, we can play sound effects or do whatever the hell, I guess, but not needed. Menu manager. So when we go here, let's send another event. There we go, now we got 2 of them. To the store pages. No, not store pages. Store. Close store. There we go. That should all be working. Should be. I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So store, our pages work, we close, we go to the battle deck. These things obviously aren't set up. We close, we go to the store. There we go. We go back and forth now all day long. Cool. So that was easy. So what are we going to do here when we want to open the player's inventory, right? So I mean, we have a similar thing, like in this store, you know, we destroy it. We're going to do that same thing, and we're going to loop similar to this, and we're going to create, right? Pretty close to the same. We might as well just add another FSM here. Why not? Sure. You can also do a lot of templates with these too. Help keep your FSMs low. Not that that's a big deal. Let's call it Player Inventory Manager. All right, and then let's do another FSM. Let's copy this one, paste as new, and call this player inventory pages. All right, so this guy, let's just drag in these two buttons and then change his card holder to this card holder. There, now we have pages on that guy already set up, just like that. Don't have to do anything else. So we need open inventory or something, and you can name these events whatever you want. A handy method, I really don't do it too much, at least not for my tutorials, but you could go player inventory slash open, and then you could go player inventory slash close, like that, if you really wanted to, right? And then what that will do is now I have player inventory and I have two options, open, close, right? Just in case if anyone didn't happen to know that, it's a nice way to keep things neat and tidy. Yeah, actually works pretty good. I don't know why I don't really bother doing it in my tutorials too often. I think it's because I just trying to whip out logic. I'm not too worried about trying to keep things clean. So if we open the battle deck, what do we need? We need to send a player inventory, right? And now we can do that same thing, player inventory. Let's do the open. So back in our player inventory, let's deal with that. So what is it when we open? Well, we have already learned our lesson about the destroying object, so let's do that first. So this is going to be a variable called, we want to just keep the same name, if I spell it right, created cards, and let's just finish and go down here. Alright, so here, all we're going to do is, in our inventory is a hash table, pretty sure, hash table get next. Right, so we have that guy, and he is a hash table. So we have a loop, and we have a done, and we can have the key, sure. I don't know if we'll necessarily need it, and we can have the integer card count. That might be useful for something. We can tack something onto the cards for the inventory, where it's deactivated almost all the time, but when in inventory it can show how many cards we have as we stack it there, so we don't duplicate things up. So anyways, we have loop and done. So what are we going to do? Same bloody thing as the other one, pretty much. We are going to create object, and we're going to create the card template. The parent is going to be our card holder, and this is our created card, and we need to set FSM string, just like how it is before. Grab our card template, because it's just so much easier doing that. Set card, and we're going to do the card, and it is key. Make sure to set that back to the created card when you do that stuff, though. Alright, array add. Let's put it into our array so we can destroy it later. Our created cards. the other thing we can do is set FSM bool, because we also have that as a default on, or default off, I guess, but showing the back of the card all the time, which is fine. In, oh, not in play. FSM is flipped, is true. Alright, now we go back over here. And done. You can just sit there. Sit there and wait. Do nothing else but wait. Alright. Give that a little save. Hit play. Let's see what happens. I guess I should make sure we have an inventory first, eh? So, if we look at our manager, that's where all this is happening. We have 4 knights, 2 goblins, 2 lich, 2 militia. Perfect. So if I go to the store, we see this stuff, and we can flip our pages, go back to the menu. We open our battle deck, and oh, we didn't get this one to flip. But here we have our knight, goblin, lich, militia. Right now we don't have the numbers, and that's where we could put on like we have 2 of these, or you know, whatever. We could actually tie that into the cards. Not sure why the knight didn't flip. That's a little weird. You flip. Don't be like that. So let's just take a quick little peek. See why that one wouldn't have flipped. Right, so we loop. You know what? Let's add a... I'm just going to go like this. You probably don't need to do this part. I just want to make sure that, because it should see, for whatever reason, it didn't pick up the first card. Maybe I spelled things wrong. Something in the key or something. So we go to the battle deck, and it's loading. So we can see it created the card. It knows it's called Knight. It's added it. And I sent that. See, never do that. Never do that. Oh my lord. Alright, get rid of that. Go back down here. This is on the created card. So let's go into this guy, because that's what I was targeting, was the prefab. Let's make sure he is set to false. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Now we go battle deck. There's our 4 cards. We go back to the menu. We can go to the store. Back there, back to our battle deck, and our pages should work. Perfect. Awesome. So, now, let's make sure we have time for this. Oh god, we're running out of time. So we have the inventory. The other thing we would need now is a spot for the battle deck, right? Like if this is here, maybe we want a panel, and this can be our battle deck. And let's just move this down. Where would be a good place for us? You almost got to adjust this kind of the whole book over or something, maybe. All right, you can bring everything over. Oh, apparently that's a bad idea. Player inventory, let's drag the whole thing over. There we go. And we don't need a player money on this one. And okay, the battle deck maker now can actually probably sit like here. lower tundering, medium, my clicky finger. Right, so now we have battle deck. We can sit there, and this could be, you know, whatever color. We can make a graphic for it sometime, maybe. Make it solid, whatever. I'm going to put it up above because I don't want it cutting off that arrow. That looks silly. Alright, so now that guy, but we're going to have raycast target on, and this is going to get a tag called, we'll call it battle deck. Now we know how to interact with it. So let's go and this guy add a I guess maybe a vertical layout group. Sure. Alright, let's tack that stuff on. Dear Lord, that was horrendous. And go back in here. So we want, let's go upper center, and we don't want to control any of that stuff. I don't think. We just want to more or less tack them on. And if we make numerous of them, cool, cool. So what we don't want is a bunch of spacing. We're going to actually maybe something like that. Almost wonder if we'd better the horizontal. That should be okay. We can build a deck that way. Alright. So, let's go into our manager. Let's go into our player inventory manager. So we have, oh man, are you serious? I was in there the whole time. I didn't realize I was on play mode. That's almost disheartening. Almost disheartening. I don't know if that's common. Like sometimes you just forget it, come out of play mode, do a bunch of changes. Tell you, I do that sometimes. Such a pain in the ass. So battle deck, and of course we'll give it our tag. To which it even took away my tag, you bastard. So, there we go. Now we're back to where it was. I don't want it so bright. Even that's a little bright. There we go. Okay, cool. So, vertical layout group. Don't control any of this crap. And let's go upper left this time. And spacing on the top, let's give that one to 10. And spacing -90. There we go. That should be fine. And we can give it a title and stuff like that too if you want to get all fancy with it. So, anywho, now that we're there again, when we're here, what do we have? We have get mouse button down. Or if you're using a new input system, you do something with that. So we have clicked. Sure, call it that. So we've clicked. What are we going to do? We're going to get pointer. Last pointer data info. So now with this, Actually, no, you know what? We don't need to do that with here. Because all we really need to do is when we unclick, right? If we're dragging, because if we hit play, I should have closed that first. So if we go into our battle deck, so I should be able to drag these, right? I can just move those around. And if I let go, they just stop wherever. But ideally, we want to come over and we want to be able to drop them here, right? So, we have the mask, we got to come out of, but that's not going to be happening when we drag it over here. So we're going to go and drop it there. So we actually need it on a not a mouse button down. We actually need this on a mouse button up. Right. So we can set an event. I still use clicked. So the other thing is here we have card template. Let's go into that guy. So we have this stuff. So we have in play, we do the glow, the exit, and the scales. We have the begin drag and end drag. So on begin drag, there is something we do need to do beyond all of this, and that is we need to get parent. So this is old parent. And then we also need to get root. And that can be new parent. Sure. And then what do we need to do? We need to set parent. Set parent. Move to the bottom. So we're going to set ourselves to the new parent, and that will take care of the mask and stuff and put it out front, so we're over top of everything, right? Okay, so now that we've done that, we have the drag. We need a end drag, right? Because on end drag, what do we need to do? We need to get our position. So we can, well, we reuse that variable. We're going to get our position, right? Because we could use a few other things, but whatever. So we have end drag. Now, if we have end dragged, we need to know what we're end dragging it on. And this is where we can, a few different things we could do. But ultimately, we need to raycast in the UI. So it's not your normal raycasting. This is actually a special raycasting. Which should be under the UI. UI event system, current raycast all. So with the UI raycast, it's raycasting all. It's going to hit everything under that position, which is why we use tags. So we need to do current mouse position, or well, mouse current position. Can I do that? Or no, it's going to give me errors. It shouldn't give me errors, it's silly. So it needs a list. So I have array list. We'll just call array list. All right. So we have array list. Let's come down here. and array get next. We need to go through that array list. So remember, this all happens instantly. Current array hit. So we need to loop through, and we need to say a tag switch, so that we know what we're being dropped on. Right. So the current array hit. Right now we're only going to have the one tag, and that's the battle deck. And if that's the case, we're going to do battle deck logic. And then battle deck logic. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it this way. Just helps me separate things, right? I can drag this over and do, like, this is my battle deck logic over here. It's not like strings shit and going everywhere. All right, so he can come down. So we can loop, and if it's battle deck, we're going to do battle deck logic. So battle deck logic is well, okay, we'll get to that, because we have to get its child and parent to that. But we only want to do that if the battle deck itself has room, or else we need to go back, right? And we can actually make an event for that. We'll call it go back. So if we go back, then we're going to set parent to the old parent, and set position. I mean, you should be able to use these things to reset locals, but as a safety, I'm just going to do this anyways. So self, and those need to be 0. And then we're back to wherever the hell we came from under the same parent. There might be some more logic we got to put in there later on, but we'll work with that later. So we're doing this. So for now, and then we'll probably get into this next video where we really build out this logic. But for now, let's put some logic on this. Or, yeah. So we'll just use the same name, battle deck, and the battle deck's going to have, for now, game object, and that's going to be its holder. Oh, the battle deck doesn't have a holder, right? Okay, but it's going to have a count, so we'll deal with it, just not right now. We don't have to worry about that. No, we're not going to put any I've already put logic on it, but we're not going to put any more logic on it. All right, so if that's the case, if it is the battle deck, then just set parent of ourselves to the current array hit. And again, just to be on the safe side, make sure when you do the set position, it's after you've set parent. So then we've become part of the deck. Now this is where we'd have to add ourselves into a list and stuff, but as long as there's room. All right, so if it's done, we're just going to go back. Right, so here, if there is nothing here, I'm just going to hit a finish and go back. And no, I'm not, because that looks ugly. I'm going to send event. And that will go back. Right, so ultimately, if we hit a battle deck, this will never fire. It's going to hit this and go. If we don't hit the battle deck, then this goes. Right, and done. We can actually change that to go back and get rid of this one. And it's a little cleaner. Right, so now if we come out here, we close him down, so we open him properly. We hit play. We have our beautiful inventory, our dynamic pages. We can open up our battle deck. We see this stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, I want to take my favorite Lich guy and put him in here. Oh, I want this guy too, and I want this guy, and I want this guy. Right, and we're starting to build a deck. So, position-wise, I think I'm going to move this over. You know, maybe something a little closer like that. So let's grab his transform. But, I mean, it works, right? And, oh, I should have done that. I should have done this first. Move this thing over, and move this thing just not quite as over. But that'll be good. Alright, so at that point in time, all we really need to do here is we need to see what we have. And do we have a count? Can we do that? Get child count? Oh, I can't do that. Oh, that'll just make it even easier. So let's say of the current ray hit, child count, and then let's move these guys down here. So we're just getting child count, int compare. So what this int would be is we're going to look at how many people are in the battle deck. So this is your maximum amount of cards. So if I say 2 for now, just so we can see it actually work, if we're equal to that, then we are full. If we're greater, we shouldn't ever be greater, but we'd be full. And if we're less, then we can take the card. Right, so if we take the card, we're going here. And you know what, I don't know why I did that with a full thing. We don't need full, we need go back. The whole reason why I did that. There we go. So that will actually work just fine. So we can only now have 2 cards. Or did I make equal? I don't know. So we take that card, take this card, he loads, I come over here, and if I take this card, he should just go back. Yep. Can't take him. That's a no. That's a no. Can't do it. Can't do it. Right, so there we have, now we're starting to build the battle deck. So the other thing we're going to use with the battle deck is what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a confirmation button here. So when you're done your battle deck, you have to like apply it. And when we apply it, that's when we'll save it. We'll save the entire battle deck. Right, so then we also need a load for when we first come into the player inventory. We load the battle deck. We need to be able to pull out of the battle deck, put it back in the book, and then, of course, close the player inventory, hit play mode, and take the saved battle deck. We have to go into the game, load the battle deck, and then build the thing from there. So that's what we'll do in the next video. But I think that's probably a fair bit for this one. Clean up and a few extra things. Things are looking pretty good, I think. So anyways, we'll see you in the next video.